Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another video. It is good to see you. I don't know if you guys saw the last one with the history of JDM and street racing. It got flagged by YouTube, so I worked really hard on that video, and most of the response was pretty good. So if you haven't seen it, go check that one out. I thought it was a pretty good video. Today we are doing the video that a lot of people have been wanting, and it's a huge requested video. It's not going to be a long video. There will be a lot of talking into it, but it's going to be a lot of theory, walking you through how to make your own brake lines. It's actually really easy and simple if you get this tool. Also, don't forget, we are giving away these beautiful Rays wheels, 15 by 8 plus 35, 57 DR, Graham lights in mag blue. They are gorgeous. Can't believe I'm giving these wheels away. You can see they're brand new in the box. And you look, I'm not even taking them out of the bag, but you can see they are blue and they are there. And if you don't want the wheels, you can take the cash option at $1,500. Second place is the Wireworks B Series / D Series tuck harness. Third place is a Ghost lock. Fourth place is a Momo Monte Carlo steering wheel, just like this one, not this one, but just like it. And fifth place is you get your money back, and there's also cash options for each one of these. I think it's $1,500 for the wheels, like $700 for the harness, $350 for third place, $250 for fourth place, and like I said, you get your money back for fifth place. So go to thedragonspec.com, pick up a giveaway bundle, and celebrate your passion for driving well set up cars on windy roads. Let's get into the video, shall we? Now that we've paid the bills, thank you guys so much for the support. First, before I show you how, I gotta show you the what and why. Real quick, what I'm gonna do is remove the air intake box so we can take a look at how I deleted the ABS on the Integra and made my own brake lines. This is where things get a little weird because brakes are a safety issue and they're not to be played with. It's not funny. Don't half-ass it. Do not cut corners. I'm not responsible if you fuck your car up or you have no brakes and you drive into a tree, okay? Do it right, make sure it's done right, and if you don't know what you're doing, find somebody that does. So if you notice here, I have a Integra 98 spec RS brake proportional valve. The reason why I use this is because I had it, and it works great. You can also use an EM1 from a 99 2000 Civic. That's a good one. And of course, you can use the earlier style. I prefer these because the earlier style from the DAs and EFs and EGs, they have a seal in the middle of it that can leak over time. So I just prefer these. Plus, this one doesn't stick out as far. I did think about maybe if I was gonna case swap this thing down the future that this might need to be moved and redone. So that is a thing. One thing to note, whether you're dealing with a Civic or a DC Integra, a DA Integra, is that if you have an ABS model, the rear lines are usually the same. If you notice over here, this is like a pass-through for the rear lines. I'm not 100% sure as to if this reduces the brake pressure or anything like that, but I have had no issues with the rear brakes or anything like that. And I've seen plenty of other people continue to use that as well. First thing, if you're deleting ABS lines, then you need to get a proper proportioning valve. That's the first thing that you need to get a hold of. Like I said, you can use 98 spec RS and up, an EM1, an Integra, 40-40 prop valve, a 30-30 prop valve. They're all good. Okay, so once you have this, then you can deal with the lines. The rear lines came into here. I obviously made new lines for this one, and that obviously goes into here and here, so if you can get a good look at it. Now, the biggest problem and the hardest part of doing brake lines is the flaring tool and how to flare brake lines properly. I've got good news because I have the secret sauce on that one. I'm about to tell you what it is. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description of what this tool is exactly. If not, just Google it. We're gonna walk through this and how to make a brake line. I'm gonna walk you through step by step. So first things first, this is the tool that I use to flare the lines. This thing is amazing and does all the work for you. It's very easy. You just need to take your time and make sure that you do it right when you do it. But if you use this tool properly, it does all the hard work for you. So what this is a Titan 51-535 with the 3/16 flare on it. So you can go on Amazon, you can get these things, and the way this works is that you put the brake line, you can see the arrow here, in through here. You line it up with this line here, and then what you do, you start off with this one where it says option 1, and you tighten that down onto the line. Once that bottoms out, you take it back out, and then what you do is you flip it over, and then run it down again. And then what this does is that gives you that perfect double flare that Honda brake lines use, which is like the industry standard of how to do it. So this thing makes easy work of this. So I'm gonna get a piece of brake line hose and show you how to make that. All right, so when you have brake line, you'll have it in a roll sometimes like this. What you gotta do is basically just kind of, get a rough length of how much you need, straighten it out. We're gonna say, we need a short brake line. So then what we do is we could take a cutting tool, and you can find, these pipe cutting tools, at Lowe's or anywhere. Even, they have kits that you can get from, AutoZone. I actually prefer this one because it's got the scraper on it. And this is important, which I'm gonna show you how to use that here in a second. So I'm actually gonna use this one just for this. So what you wanna do is get this cutter on here like this, make sure the blade is on it. And then what you do is you squeeze this down, and you begin to rotate. Squeeze it down a little bit more once it gets loose. Okay, you notice it's getting looser. Squeeze it down a little bit more. Now we've cut our line. Now, once we have our line cut, it is very important that you deburr the line. You just kind of go around like that. You just kind of clean that up just like that. Now the Honda fittings, if you want to use these, are what they call M10 by 1.0. So remember that, M10 by 1.0. Now normally after we clean it up, we would take this fitting and we would slide it on like that. However, because it's going to slide right off, we can actually do the flare and then put the fitting on. Remember to always put the fitting on before you do the flare, because then you got to start over. Now when you get the tool, you'll get this stuff like this, which is kind of like some lubricant. So what I like to do is just take this, just dip a little bit of lubricant in there. We're going to slide this in. We're going to make sure that it lines up with that line on here, okay? And so there's a little hole there, you could see, where you want this thing, like right there. 10 millimeter to crank this down tight. Make sure she's got it nice and good. Next, we're going to take a 17 millimeter socket, and we're going to make sure that we're on option 1 here that you can see. I'm going to screw that in until it bottoms out. Now we're going to take the ratchet and tighten. So it really doesn't want to go anymore. Okay, now we're going to loosen it. Now it should come out. Now when you take it out, you're going to flip it over. So make sure that option 1 is facing the other direction, because we got to do the second flare here until it bottoms out. Tighten it down. Right there. Make it loose. And as we take it out, we have a perfect flare here. You want to go ahead and wipe the excess stuff off, and we have a perfect flare. Look at that. Easy peasy. When you take your Honda fitting and you put it on, it'll butt up against there. And you just thread that right into, where it needs to go. Look at that. And that's a perfect double flare for a Honda. Look at that. Super easy, simple. So now that we have our beautiful flare with fitting, what we're going to do is put a fitting on and then put another fitting on. Make sure it faces the correct way. So then we're going to go ahead, you're going to have 2 fittings like that. We're going to go ahead and flare this end. So we're going to dip a little bit in here. Now that we've got this line in here, we've got it lined up with the center line here. You can see the light through it. All right. You want to tighten these down pretty good so it gets a good grip on the line itself. Option 1 we do first. So we're going to run this in, then use a 17 millimeter socket. Tighten it down. It's going to get a little tough until you can't go anymore. Right about there. Crack it loose. Okay, take it out, flip it over. Run it down until it stops. 17 millimeter socket again. Turn it so you can't anymore. Yeah, we're bottomed out. Crack it loose, take it out, pull it out, and again, we have a nice, beautiful flare. I'm gonna wipe all the excess goo-goo off of it. Okay, double bubble flare there. That's what you want. There you go. That is what you want right there. You can even find these at the auto parts store kind of pre-made, but this is how you make them, because if you want to tuck your own lines, you know, that's a whole other thing. You know, you have to do your research as far as certain fittings if you want to like go in through the firewall. So now what we have to do is bend this in a way that we can use it. Now this is one bending tool, there's others out there. This one's Titan 51503. And this does a number of different angles. It kind of does some different stuff here. And this thing can be tricky to use. But what I found is kind of throw it in here. We're gonna bend this line around. Get like this, okay. All right. So now we have a nice, good bend in there where it's not crimped or crinked or anything like that. Now I'm gonna make another bend. And then the key is just to, this is gonna take some practice. You know, if, let's say the line needs to be orientated in a certain way, you need to be aware of that. You know, if we need a compound bend where it's kind of like this, and then we'll do one more to face it like this, so. And try to make it nice and pretty as you can. Now we have a complex bent brake line, as you can see, flared properly. And you know, this only took me about 10 minutes sitting here, just, you know, filming it. Obviously filming it takes a little longer, but you know, you can do all kinds of different bends, and the more that you practice with it, the better you will get. It is a tricky tool to figure out and learn how to use, but this is a great, you know, skill to know how to do. And then of course, if you've got rusted out, broken, you know, brake lines in the rear, you'll need, you know, metal fittings sometimes if you just need to replace a piece of pipe. You know, you can see where I've got the two rear lines coming into here. This is a line that Carl actually helped me make that goes to the master cylinder here and here. This line right here goes to the front right wheel. This line right here goes to the driver's side front wheel. And then, like I said, this one and this one go to the master cylinder. Of course, you need to make sure you bleed and check for any leaks. Always make sure that you check for leaks. That's very important. Of course, you know, we ran new lines over here as well. I like having a booster setup. Some people like a booster delete. That's up to them. This is where things get a little weird, because brakes are a safety issue and they're not to be played with. It's not funny. Don't half-ass it. Do not cut corners. I'm not responsible if you fuck your car up or you have no brakes and you drive into a tree, okay? Do it right, make sure it's done right, and if you don't know what you're doing, find somebody that does. Again, this is not something that you should take lightly, but it is a skill kind of necessary for saving these cars, because, you know, the brake lines aren't available in most of the catalogs, and, you know, there's a lot of northern cars where the brake lines rust out, and, you know, people go, oh no, it's got rusted up brake lines, the car's ruined, the car's totaled. And it's really not that bad of a process. It's actually super simple. I hope this helps. I hope there isn't anything that I haven't misstepped or forgotten. The Titan tools make it super easy. The Honda fitting size is M10 by 1.0. So I hope that this helps some people out there, you know, demystify making their own brake lines. I mean, it's something that you can get creative at and have fun with. It was actually, I was terrified of doing this for the longest time, but then once you kind of learn how to do it, it's actually fun. It's one of the most creative things that you can do. I hope this video helps some people out there finish up their projects and kind of makes them special. Remember, go to thedragonspec.com. Pick up a set of sunglasses or a shift knob bundle. Celebrate your passion for driving at thedragonspec.com and win these wheels. I'm gonna let you in on a secret. There's not that many bundles, so your chances of winning are actually really high. The amount of bundles are not that many. So thank you guys for all the support. See you in the next one.